going to go ahead and get started. So I just want to welcome everybody to our fourth week of our beginners class. My name is Lynn Wiedenroth, and I'm a sales master with the Boston Global Center. Typically, Jessica Delatina co-teaches with me, but she's on vacation for 2 weeks. So you just have to deal with me for the whole class. So today we'll be talking about 8 steps to success. But before we do that, Narissa is going to lead us in our company motto. So let me call that up. Okay, Narissa, take it from here.
As we always start the meeting or the Zoom, we always recite the company motto. Ready?
Ready?
Yes.
Cherish
Cherish the spirit,
create
the
vision,
vision,
follow
follow
the
the
faith,
serve
in humility.
Great job. Thank you, Narissa. She's filling in for me today. Okay. So today we're going to cover the 8 steps to success. And something that we're very blessed about is our CEO, Han-Gil Park, put together this beautiful system for us that if we follow it, we're going to succeed with Atomy. Next week, we'll talk about the 8 core, but tonight we're talking about the 8 steps to success and life scenario. So our beginners class is focused on, now that I'm an Atomy member and I've used the products, now what do I want to do? So if I decide that I want to maybe start a business of my own, this is what I could do. What's next? What are my next steps to start and succeed in my Atomy business? Excuse me, that's not moving. Okay, so the 8 steps to success, you can see them here from 1 to 8, and they build on top of each other. So we set a goal, we make a commitment, we list up, we invite, we explain the business, we follow up, we consult with our leaders, and then we duplicate. And we'll look at those individually tonight. So the first one is to set a goal. And Han-Gil Park feels very strongly, and we need to feel strongly, that we need a balanced life, right? It shouldn't be all work and no play, but yet you've got to work in order to earn money so that you can eat and drive a car and live in a home. So we need to find that balance so that we're not always devoting all of our free time to just being a slave to our job. We need to live well. We need to love, we need to learn, and then part of our getting is for us to have the ability to give back. Han-Gil Park says, if you dream vividly, it will definitely come true. If you move forward with this dream confidently, your future will change. So when we talk about building a dream, it's different for everybody. Some people have always dreamt of living in a particular house. Some people really love the dream of traveling the world. Other people, it's all about the car that they drive. They really would love a certain car. We have a little picture here about education. And then we've got cash, money on hand. And then we've got the donation aspect, giving to charity, having enough so that we can give to help other people's lives get enriched. So we need to start thinking about what our dream might be. What do you want to accomplish in life? After you've settled on your dream, the next step is commitment. So Han-Gil Park says you will run into people who try to talk you out of doing this business. If that's the case, just disregard them and move on to the next person.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't see you.
Okay. You need to remember to think in a positive way. When, if you suffer a setback in the business, don't look at it as a setback, look at it as an opportunity to learn from. And that'll help you not only continue to grow your business, but it'll help you as you're helping your downline grow theirs, because they'll run into difficulties too. Mr. Park says that you should influence the people around you with your thoughts and ideas. Don't let other people steer your life, especially when it comes to the negative comments. oh, what are you doing in an MLM? You know, the people at the top get rich. You're just going to work to feed the people at the top. That's not how Atomy is designed. And if you really don't understand that piece of our business, I encourage you to learn it, because when you do, you can have an answer to give to some of those people who really question an MLM type of business. You want to be proactive versus reactive if you can. So being proactive is taking charge of your own business ahead of time, before situations either turn for the worse or have a proactive plan to grow. In my other job as a nurse, I've had to learn how to be reactive, especially when I worked in the emergency room. You had to react to the situation that came in the door. But when we want to stay healthy, we are proactive. We do the things to help keep our bodies healthy. It's the same way with our business. We're better off if we invest in being proactive with our business, anticipating things that might come and planning for them, rather than to have to react once they've already happened and we don't know what to do. I love this statement. Commitment means staying loyal to what you said you were going to do long after the mood you set it in has left you. There's a lot of excitement that comes when you're first signing on to a new business like Atomy, and you think that you're just going to keep going, and you're going to grow this faster than anybody else. And then the going gets a little tough. Well, the people who stay committed to the business have the true commitment, even though they may not be fully excited about it anymore. Our emotions and our feelings, they come and they go, and we can't base decisions, we can't base our commitment on how we feel that day. It's the same way with like marriage. It's a commitment that you make, whether you're having good days as a couple or bad days as a couple. If you stick to your commitment to stick with each other, both sides, things will work out better. The third step to success is list up. So what does that mean? Well, when you first are presented with the business and you get to see the business plan, you understand that we're not selling the products to people. The products will sell themselves. We introduce products to people with the hopes that they'll sign up and become consumers or members of the Atomy Mall themselves under us, thereby generating points from which we can get a commission. How do you find enough people to do that? There have been times when I've heard lectures from Star Masters or Imperial Masters, and I hear how they have thousands of people under them, and you can panic and say, but I don't know thousands of people. You don't need to know thousands of people, but start with the people that you do know. Don't automatically label somebody as, they wouldn't be interested in this, so I'm not going to talk to them. You never know. Some of the people that will surprise you the most are the ones that you might think would be most resistant to the idea of changing their product line to Atomy. But you might be catching them just at that point where they're ready to make a change in something. And you never know. They may become an auto consumer, and they may decide to start a business under you. The speed at which you inform the people on your list will determine your success. The law of your own mind, telling them is my own mind, doing it or not is their own mind. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. That's another expression out there. So we have to tell many, many people in order to just get one or two to go ahead and sign up under you. Mr. Hangil Park says, if you want to achieve something challenging in your life, make them happen in an intensive manner. I think of this as being intentional. Atomy should always be intentional in our minds, no matter where we go, no matter who we speak to, who comes across our path, in ways that we may not even anticipate. In a supermarket, at the gas station, wherever you go, perfect strangers, there should always be that way of how can I introduce Atomy to this person in the forefront of your mind. So here we have a little acrostic for the word friends about the different types of people that you might want to take a step back and look at your group of acquaintances in this type of light. So F stands for your closest friends and family and familial relations. So brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, your children, your grandchildren, your husband's family. Those are the people that really stand under the letter F. Maybe this will help bring family together a little bit because maybe you haven't spoken to an in-law for a while or your brother or sister for a long time. And now you've got this opportunity. Maybe you can use Atomy to strengthen that relationship. R is for records. Go through any records that you might have. If you're not too far away from graduating high school, go through your yearbook and remind yourself of some of the classmates that you graduated with. Maybe you want to contact them. Maybe you've gotten business cards from a lot of people along the way for different things. Those are names of people. Any club members, church acquaintances, people that you might know but a little less formally than your own family and friends. I is for industry. Think of your workplace. If you've worked in a workplace, then who are the people that you've worked with that you could talk to about this business? Some people are doing Atomy full-time now, but before you did Atomy full-time, you were probably working in another place. Who are some of those people you might still have contacts with that you were close to at the workplace that you could introduce Atomy to? E, electronic friends. In this digital day and age, I've got friends on Facebook that I would have never, ever had the opportunity to meet. They're a friend of a friend, but we've gotten into conversations on Facebook, and now we consider each other friends, but we've never met in person. That happens with Instagram, it happens with Twitter, Kakao Talk even. I've gotten to know some people that are in other parts of the country that I wouldn't know. So think of your electronic friends that you might be able to just via Facebook Messenger or Instagram, put a post up or a communication up, inviting them to learn more about Atomy, letting them know what Atomy's done for you. Network with a purpose. If you're going to a wedding and you're attending a wedding, bring along a couple of things like the propolis spray from Korea that we have now that just freshens your mouth but yet keeps the bacteria count down. You can put this in your purse and spray it and somebody says, what's that? And before you know it, you're talking to them about an Atomy product. If you're going to a work meeting, same type of thing. Bring a vitamin C or a probiotic along with you. Tear it open at some point and just take it when you know people might have an opportunity to see you taking it. And they're going to ask you what that is, and you can tell them what it is. You can make direct contact with people while you're waiting at a doctor's office. If you're at the hairdresser and somebody else is in the chair waiting their turn, or they're letting their hair sit for a while, you can start up a conversation with them. You never know who God will bring along your path that he'll give you the opportunity to introduce Atomy to. And then S is for same name. So if you've got a friend named Anne, that's our example here, think about if you know any other Annes, and it might lead you to different people. And it's a technique that works for some, so it might be worth giving it a try. Okay. So when you do meet somebody, you want to research a little bit. So let's say we met this woman, Anne, and she's married with 2 teenage children. She tells you that her husband has health issues. You find out that she likes a very clean home, that she's got teenage kids with acne, and that they love to go camping and travel. So, Narissa, what one product comes to mind for you right now that you could talk to about Anne based on the little bit that you know?
You introduce some supplements,
Mhm.
the cleaning product, maybe the scrub that we have,
Mhm.
and They love to go camping and travel, and some probiotic, vitamin C to bring in the camp, and the evening care because they travel, they can use that. A
That's
lot of
right.
things. Mhm.
Very good. Hannah Jin, can you think of something that you could talk to Ann about as far as our products go for her family? You're on mute.
Sorry.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Since her husband has a health issue, I would ask what kind of health issue he has it. So I would suggest from probiotics, vitamin C, even, hemohim.
That's right. That's right.
She likes a really clean home. So I would provide dish detergents and so another detergents. So we have it. And the kid has acne, right?
Mhm.
So I will suggest to use Forced with Dermasica, or if it was, the kid is really a little age, will provide Dermasica. If she's a teenager, I would suggest AC sets.
Thank you very much. That's great. So you see, you just have to ask a couple of questions of people and start making the connection to what they're interested in and what product we could introduce them to. I just want to share a little bit here about friends of mine who were up here a couple of weeks ago, and he travels a lot because he's a missionary. So he's going all over the world and in the US, but do you know what stuck out to him was our oatmeal, because he said, Lynn, this is brilliant. There are so many places I go where I can't really eat what's there, but I can always have clean water with me. All I have to do is add the water to the oatmeal and it's its own bowl and spoon, and I've got something to eat. And he thought the coffee was genius too, and the Pura-Tea. So it just takes a little bit of thinking and to connect with people. And you can see the other examples here, and we won't go in detail with all of them, but that's just the concept, to get to know the person, couple little things about them. And I'm telling you, there's a product in our line for everybody that you meet in one way or another. Who couldn't benefit from either health products, cleaning products, good food, and good skincare? So then invitation. So once you make a commitment to how you're going to do your business. With some people, it's so many phone calls a day if they have the time to do that. With me, it's I'm going to try to do 1 to 2 facial parties a month. Once I've decided which days I've got available to do that, I'm going to make appointments with people to do it. I'm going to invite myself to give a facial party at their house if they're interested in having me do that. And usually most people are going to say that sounds like a great idea, especially right now coming out of the pandemic. People want to look for reasons to get together again. But Mr. Park here talks about the temperature going over 100 Celsius for the water to boil. If you watch boiling water, once it starts to bubble and the bubbles start, if you turn the heat off, the bubbles go away because the water no longer boils. We need to keep the fire underneath our business plan and in our lives so that we'll continue to have that drive to grow our business. We want to engage people, invite them to try the products. One thing I really love about our new facial masks, the firming, the moisturizing, and the brightening, is that you only have to leave them on for maybe 10 to 20 minutes, and you already see a result. So many people aren't going to mind taking that and putting that on for 10 minutes and then getting a flavor for what our results are like. You want to help them learn more about the products. Well, to do that, you have to learn more about the products. And our company is very, very good at providing that information, not only in the product information on the website, but we've got YouTube videos. We've got Channelatomy, where you can learn about HemoHim. You can learn about the Evening Care 4 set. You can learn about just about any product that we have and start to take notes, start to really think about the things that would be very important to you. When I first started with Atomy, we had pretty good product information under each product, but it's gotten even better. So just reading that information alone, the Derma Real Cica, to learn that that comes from, you know, an ingredient in the soil in Madagascar that they observed animals rub themselves in order to heal any wounds they have. That's fascinating, and that's really interesting. And that shows how our products are a cutting edge and a step above anything else. Know about product testimonies. Know about Khan's testimony and HemoHim. Know about my testimony with the skincare and how my acne scars have reduced. We're all walking testimonies. So ask other people in our group which product has done the most for them, and write their testimony down and share it. And then invite anybody who's really interested in wanting to know more to our Zoom meetings. Our center Zoom meetings every week are always packed with information of one kind or another. And we're hearing it from different people. And sometimes it's the same information, but presented in a different way, where finally something you understand that you didn't understand before. And then we just had a terrific Success Academy last night. What a wonderful first class show that was. And so I would not be embarrassed to invite anybody I know to watch the Success Academy with me. Our next one is in October. Then you can get to step 5, where you explain the business. So I always start with the uniqueness of Atomy's mission and the motto, because other companies, it's just not like that. It's about how many products can we sell to how many people in order to get a bunch of money. With us, we're going to try to make the best products available, prestige products available to the masses, the people who don't have a lot of money, but yet deserve to use the best, like the people who have a lot of money can do. It's about representing our product with honesty and with integrity, and being humble to each other, where we can all learn from each other and help each other to build our businesses. So the company concept is very, very important. And that draws a lot of people in, because that's not what they usually hear about multi-level marketing. Our products, like I've said before, they sell themselves. If you could get a product in someone's hand, they're going to be coming back for more. They're just that good. The compensation plan, we do have a very righteous compensation plan. And although I probably couldn't give you the level of detail about it that some people can give you, I just know that the company is really vested in helping those just starting out the most. They're putting as much money and as much energy and time and focus into the beginners and those who are still new in the business to be able to grow, then they're giving the people at the top. There is a cap, and that's fascinating to me. And then the Atomy vision for the future, how we're a distribution hub, how we source many of our products globally from the different places where we actually have businesses or plan on having businesses. How we're going to be having these personal platforms pretty soon that will bring virtual reality to our shopping experience way ahead of any other company. Talk to them about that, how we're cutting edge, and our CEO and his group are always looking at ways to help our company grow into the future. Sometimes the future outgrows companies and they're left in the dust and they've got no plan B. Hahn-Gill Park is 2 steps ahead of where things are now to know where to take us in the future so our business stays viable. Follow-up is so important, and I think it might be in the other presentation, but we talk about follow-up versus follow-through. So follow-up is when you're introducing a product, whether it be to a new customer or maybe a customer you've had for a while, but they've tried something for the first time. So what did you think about that toothbrush? What did you think about the toothpaste? Make sure that you get in touch with them after they've tried a new product. Make sure if you just sign them up, you get in touch with them a couple of days later to see if they've had time to go online and have they've been able to navigate the website okay. Do they need help with placing their first order? Follow-up's very important because you want to, the Atomy is in the front of your mind when you decide to make it a business, and now you want to keep it at the front of your downline's mind too. You need to clear any doubts about that people might have about the products and business explanations by calling them quickly and reassuring them, is what Mr. Park says. And he's right. Some people might sign up and then they think, oh, did I get myself into something that I shouldn't have? They got caught up in the emotion. They can call you and you can reaffirm with them that, no, this is a valid business, and no, you're not going to lose your shirt trying to start your business up. And again, to follow up with the products, if somebody has a problem with a product, you don't hear of it often because our return rate is so low, but help them with that return. Go the extra mile to give them good customer service. Now, consultation is what we call when we should be contacting our sponsors, the people above us, to help strategize for different issues may come up. For instance, if you feel like you don't know anyone, get in touch with your sponsor and say, how did you find people? How would you recommend I find people? Can you help me open my mind up a little bit to the possibilities of where I can find people to present Atomy to? Maybe they would say no one registers as members. I tell them that it's a great MLM from South Korea. Well, again, a lot of the MLMs out there do not have a good reputation because they've cost people time and money and it led to nowhere for them. We are not that type of MLM. So maybe they need to change their approach with people they're talking to about Atomy, and maybe not go so heavy on the MLM piece and maybe try to get them interested as consumers first. And then there's hardly any sales. Well, you know, at first it's a little slow. There aren't many people out there who are going to be buying 10 products on their first try with Atomy. They're going to want to test the waters a little bit. And so they'll try a few things, and maybe with the next paycheck, they'll try one more. But that's why we need a lot of consumers, because not everybody's going to be buying large amounts every time they order. But if you're having trouble with your consumers not coming back, consult with your leader to find out how you can approach them, to ask them why. What's the barrier in their buying more products? Some people don't really know how to talk to others about the system. That goes back to a little bit about what I was saying a minute ago. We can't tell others about the system if we don't know about the system ourselves. And that's where, I can't say it enough, our weekly meetings come to play. The beginners meeting, the intermediate meeting, our global center meetings. Yes, we have the Success Academy once a month in the global center I'm in. Jason Shim, our upline from New Jersey, has a meeting for his group. Try to go to every single meeting that you can and take notes. Listen to what's being said. Don't automatically say, oh, they're going to talk about the marketing plan. I've already heard enough about that. You know, like I said in another to our group this past week, if you can't recite the marketing plan by yourself to teach someone else, then you still need to be listening about the marketing plan to learn it so that you know it cold and could spit it out if you needed to. And then if newcomers don't feel welcome and they leave, that's usually on us. That's not always on them. Everybody's got a different level of how much attention they need or want. And we need to find out very quickly what that level is. Some people, if you call them too often, they're going to get turned off. Other people, if you don't follow up with them, they're going to think you don't care. It's a balance to find out with everybody, but do the best that you can. And if you're finding that that's your struggle, talk with your upline. So again, you can learn from the wisdom of what they've gone through as they've grown their business. And then duplication. Duplication isn't always about patterning your business against somebody else's business. What works for one person may not work for another. However, we do want to see the things that are working for other people. I shared this week in our Boston Global Center meeting that for me, something I'm duplicating is how Khan has built her business mainly with HemoHim. And to be honest with you, HemoHim wasn't the first product at the top of my mind to really approach people with. But now I'm using HemoHim a whole lot more, because when people do start using HemoHim, they don't want to stop. And so I took that idea from Khan and I'm using that to duplicate in my business. I might take another idea from my sponsor, Myung, and use that to duplicate in my business. And eventually all those ideas come together to make my business. And so that's what duplication is about. It's not about me becoming Myung. It's me applying some of the principles I've learned from Myung and others who are succeeding so that I can succeed. And then I hope people will learn some principles from me that they can then incorporate in their business plan and duplicate that part of me to help succeed. That's what duplication is all about. Oops. Sorry about that. So again, we need to research our products. We need to research our members and what they need. We need to put ourselves out there and engage people. That might be a real challenge. You're not going to believe this, but when it comes to being one-on-one with people, I'm incredibly shy. And God put me in the ministry of all places where I have to come out of my comfort zone and engage with people one-on-one. I just find it easier to talk to a group of people than I find to talk to just one or two people at a time. But Atomy is a one person at a time business. So engaging is probably one of my biggest obstacles that I have to learn to overcome. I need to purchase these products myself, because if I can't look somebody in the eye and say, I know this works because I've tried it or I've used it, it's, you're going to lose some credibility with people. Or you might say, you know what? I haven't tried the herbal shampoo because I really like this other one, but I know someone who likes the herbal shampoo. I use the Absolute, but my husband uses the herbal and he likes the herbal better for his hair. So we don't have to use every single product in our line, but we should be using enough products in each of the lines so we can speak to them. Support each other, support your members, your consumers, help them in any way that you can. If I have a consumer that at the moment is battling something, whether it be a budget issue, some people have been really hurting with the pandemic. So you can take like 6 or 7 of our laundry sheet detergents and say, you know what? I just want you to give this a try and see what you think. But I know that laundry detergent can be expensive to get, so maybe this will help make room in your budget this week for something else. That's really appreciated by people. And it doesn't take much. We don't have to, for me, any money I spend in product that I give people is an investment in that person, and it's an investment in my business. And anytime we can find ways to do that, that speaks louder to people than any product information that's printed on a page can ever do for them. And then advocate. Advocate for Atomy, advocate for your sponsors, advocate for your consumers, and advocate for yourself. So before we go to the life scenario, does anybody have any questions that about what we've covered with the 8 steps right now? Osuk, if you see that anyone's raised their hand, could you let me know? Because I can't see. Okay. Well, if no one has questions, then we'll move on to life scenario. And if you think of any, we'll have time at the end for those anyway, too. So what do we mean by life scenario? Well, it helps you to have things written down in front of you in order to make your business plan. And when we start with a life scenario, where do you want to be a year from now? Where do you want your life to be 3 years from now? Where do you want your life to be 5 years from now? And Atomy has developed this beautiful booklet that really helps us to write all that out. And so a big part of writing our life scenario is to make goals for ourselves that are SMART goals. You want them to be very specific. You don't want a goal that says, I want to have a big Atomy business. That's not specific enough. I want to be an auto sales master. That's specific. Measurable. How will you know that you're an auto sales master? You need to know what that means, what that what being an auto sales master means in terms of Atomy. And you need to be able to go back and look at your timeline and make sure that you're measuring on track. So if it's to sign up an auto consumer a week or 2 a month, are you doing that? Look back and measure to make sure that it's still a goal you're going to be able to attain. The A is attainable. Don't write goals for yourself that are just too far down the road and possibly too big for you to attain right now. It's by writing shorter, attainable goals that you reach that will then help motivate you towards that larger overall goal. Keep your goals relevant and keep your actions relevant to achieving your goals. Watching, like I said this week, watching a VOD of your favorite TV show is not going to help build your Atomy business. But watching a VOD of Hangil Park teach about HemoHim is really going to help your business. So make sure that the steps that you take and that the shorter goals you make are relevant to your bigger goals. And then time frame. If you leave your goal open without a time frame, it's just not going to happen. It would be by chance if it did. So be very specific. My specific goal is to be an auto sales master by May of 2022. So don't you think that every month, maybe even every 2 weeks, I'm going to be looking to make sure I'm still following my business plan and that I'm marching towards May of 2022 with the goal of mine of being an auto sales master. If I do that, I might reach it before May. Or I might get to May and find out that it's not going to happen this month, but maybe next month. That's okay. You just need to have a goal in sight and a target date in sight to keep you on focus with achieving your goals. So this is a blurry slide. I apologize for that. But here, Atomy's life scenario does come in a guide book. And I'm going to show you where you can get that. So if you go to your office website and you click My Office, then you click My Life Scenario in your office. Some of you are probably thinking, oh, that's what that's about. I didn't understand that. And then this page is going to come up and you'll see My Life Scenario here. Click Life Plan, and then this will open up. So this is something that Mr. Park came up with about our balanced life again that we started out talking about at the beginning. Live life well, love well, learn well, and contribute well. So we have different aspects of our life, our flesh, our soul, our spirit, and the environment, and how we can go ahead and contribute to each of those parts that make up who we are. So here you could see that on step 1 under flesh, to live well, they checked off money and health. That's what their priorities are. Their 2 priorities out of that list are money and health. For the soul, it's travel and learning. For the spirit, it's to love family and grow in their faith. And for environment, to contribute, it's service and scholarship. So after you check those 2 items under each category, you're going to click Next in the lower right-hand corner. And you'll see how this will auto-populate the next slide. So you could see here the 2 priorities for each category are in the circles. So then you're going to click on each box. So this is pointing to the travel box. What do you mean by that? That's where you're going to expound a little bit on that. So by spring of 2022, my family of 6 will be able to go on vacation to London for 2 weeks. This is a beautiful SMART goal. It's measurable, it's specific, it's attainable, or the person thinks it's attainable based on how their business is doing, and it's relevant. It's relevant to their life goal of traveling. Then you're going to click confirm. And after you enter it, you'll see that it populates that little box under travel. And then after you complete all of those boxes for each of those goals that you have for those parts of yourself, you're going to check complete. Then if you click My Life Scenario, this will come up. Click Life Plan, and you'll see it totally finished. Isn't that something that we've got that for free, that we can work on that? And we can go in here and change it. We can update it anytime we want to keep it current with what's going on in our life. Next, if you click Academy short-term map, that will bring up the different masterships and a mastership achievement plan. And I found it very interesting last night in the Success Academy that one of the speakers said to put 3 years for each mastership level. And I thought to myself, wow, that takes a lot of pressure off if you put 3 years in there. Chances are you might attain it sooner, but the 3 years won't make it a stressful time. This is not something that we should be stressed to feel to do. This is something that should be enjoyable and should be things that we take joy in working towards. So for this person, they put that their team goal by December of 2022, my team will have developed 4 leaders or sales masters. Then you click next. And you'll see that it'll come up here printed in your team goal. And whatever dates you've set in for each mastership will be there. You could also put in the amount of income that you'd like to be making at that time. Everybody's different that way. I can't even begin to guess what that would be for me. That's a little overwhelming for me to think about, but some people can drill down that far, and it's made to do that. So feel free to do that. So by writing your goals, by writing them down on paper, you're 42% more likely to achieve them. Like everything else, if we say something out loud, it sticks in our brain. If we see it written down, it sticks in our brain. But if we write it down ourselves, it's really in the forefront of our brains, and it helps us to stay on track to achieve our goals. A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan, your plan to build your business. A plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. So that is what we have tonight regarding the 8 steps of success and the life scenario booklet. So at this time, I sure would love to hear your feedback or any comments that you have. I'll try to answer questions if you have them, although, you know, we've got people in this meeting that are far more experienced than I am when it comes to that. So does anybody have anything that they want to say or ask when it comes to the 8 steps to success in the life scenario?